Here we go. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thursday, June 24th, 2021 episode of Pete's Power Plays, hosted by the one, the only king of the ice and fantasy football guru himself, Billy Pete. And we're live on 12 Ounce Sports and Zingo TV, channel 761. Thank you all so much for tuning in, taking time out of your busy schedules and hang out with yours truly as we discussed last night's game number 6. Islanders and the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Isles force a game number 7 as they head back to the Amalie Center down there in St. Pete's. I'm also going to talk about game number 6 tonight. Montreal and Vegas. Can Montreal end the series and stamp their ticket to the Stanley Cup Finals, or will Vegas stop that and head back to the Fortress for game number 7? Also, I'll talk more fantasy football like usual. And Dave Haxall, the ex-Philadelphia Flyers head coach and Maple Leafs assistant, has taken the helm as the new head coach for the Seattle Kraken. All that and more as we talk for Billy Pete's today's episode of Pete's Power Plays. This show, as always, is sponsored by MyBookie.ag. Sports are back, as we know, in full gear. NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs. You have Euros going on, soccer, golf, baseball, whatever you may need. Go to MyBookie.ag. Use the promo code 12Ounce Sports. 12OZ Sports. Once again, mybookie.ag. Use the promo code 12Ounce Sports. 12OZ Sports. All caps, no spaces. They'll match your first deposit up to $1,000. And hey, always remember to gamble responsibly. Zingo TV, channel 761. If you have Zingo TV, welcome aboard to today's episode. If you don't, well, I highly recommend you get it. It's a free app. Sign up today. And when doing so, flip over to channel 761, where you'll be hearing today's episode of Pete's Power Plays. And last but not least, Amazon.com. Summer is in full gear, as we know. Get your summer apparel now by going to www.12ouncesportsnetwork.com/Amazon. Once again, www.12ouncesportsnetwork.com/Amazon. Ladies and gentlemen, I also brought in the one, the only Cody Janzen from the World Hockey Report. So rest assured, here we go. We got a solid tag team on the ice tonight between him and I. Cody, what's up, my man? Thank you for joining the show.
Not much. Appreciate you having me on here again, even though all of my playoff picks have been wrong to this point.
Yeah. Hey, listen, it's been tough. It's been a struggle postseason for me as well. It's just that, the past couple of years I've been doing this in terms of capping hockey and giving out bets. I've been doing this for at least like 10 years, but getting into an actual 12-ounce sports, and giving out plays on Twitter. I've only been on Twitter for 4 years now, and it's just nice to be a part of a great app and giving out plays. But this postseason has been absolutely brutal for me. And I'm going to recap. I'm going to recap right now, since we're going to talk about this, and this will lead into Game 6 tonight, Montreal and Vegas bets, and I will have Cody's take on his plays as well. So last night we pulled a bingo bango bongo 1-1-1 with an even overall. Units, nothing. We won nothing. And, of course, on the show yesterday, I did say that the Islanders would win last night at plus 130. So, of course, that cashed out. So, Islanders and the Lightning under 5 was a push. Islanders and Bolts under first period, 1.5 goals. That cashed out. That line went up really, really dramatically. I had it at minus 135. It went to minus 155, minus 160 by the time the puck drop happened there. So, again, a lot of money was on that under. Thankfully, we cashed out, and of course, the only loss of the night was the Isles' first period on the money line at plus 115. Tampa took a 1-0 lead after the first, and hey, it is what it is. That's just how Tampa has been doing this year so far. But again, if you cashed out the Islanders on the money line at plus 130, you cashed out. So here we go. NHL playoffs. It's been terrible. 66 wins, 81 losses, and 12 pushes with a minus 15.7 overall units. Again, it's been a very tough postseason for Philly Pete. But however, my NHL year to date is 524 wins, 503 losses, and 46 lovely pushes. That gives me a total of plus 62.18 units overall. So all in all, we're still doing pretty darn good. I'd like to get back to single-digit units negative-wise by the time the Cup Finals are over. That would be nice. But hey, rest assured, that's how it's been for me. And without further ado, let's drag into game number 6. Vegas, Montreal. Here we go, Cody. Over-under is set at 5. It is another 5 spot at minus 125 for that over. Montreal is a plus 125 dog on the money line. Vegas minus 145. Now, money is about even as even gets here. Montreal is getting 45% of the love. Vegas is getting 55% of the love. Nothing dramatic. It's about as easy as you can get there. Montreal at home has been pretty decent. 17, 13, and 5. However, on the puck line, they're 15 and 20 in their last 35, and 2, 5, and 3 in their last 10 when it comes to the unders, and the overs. Vegas, well, we know their road record. We know they're great. 23, 11, and 2 on the road. 18 and 18 on the road when covering the puck line in their last 36, and 2, 5, and 3 as well when it comes to the overs. So this series, there's been 5 games. It's been 0-1 and 4 in terms of the under has hit once, and there's been 4 pushes in this series, which has been crazy to think. So not one over has hit, and I still like the under. I like the under in this situation here. You're getting a plus 105, a little bit of value there. But just the way that these two teams have been playing, Carey Price has been unbelievable this series. And, what can I say more about this Montreal team? So right away, I'm digging the under 5 right then and there. And you know what? Like, I want to take your side. I want your insight first, Cody. I want your best bet first before I discuss who I think is going to win this game tonight.
Now, I think generally I would go for the under as well. I feel like that seems like it should be the smart play, but there's also that hockey sense inside of me saying Vegas is playing for their lives here. They're going to be throwing the kitchen sink at Carey Price, and there's no way they don't come out here with a wild performance. I think they just got to be throwing haymakers left, right, and center. So maybe I would go against my gut instinct and take the over, just a little sprinkle on it, just because I feel that the floodgates could open. I'm not saying it's going to be the Islanders with a dramatic comeback and overtime win, but I did pick both of these series to go 7 games. So yeah, I mean, I do like Vegas. I do think the money line's a smart play. It's not terrible value. They're I've seen them as minus 130 at some places as well. Like, if you can get them for that price on the money line, I don't think that's a terrible bet.
Not at all. And it's nice to see. I just think that I don't know. I have a couple side notes here, and I just think Montreal, just the way they've been playing, and they are even in the Fortress. They tend to just play great. I mean, they had a 1-0 lead in the first period there. They tend to play their first period so well, and they dominated. I mean, and I understand with Chandler Stevenson. He obviously makes a big deal for this Vegas team, and it's crazy to think. But I just, as much as I think Vegas is the more talented team, I just think this is the team of destiny for Montreal. And like I said, time and time again, I have 50-1 and 60-1 Cup futures on this squad from the beginning of the season, which is, I just took a little voucher. I took a little scratch off ticket, and you know what? Just hoped for the best. And it's crazy to think that they are 1 win away from going to the Cup Finals, and it's been unbelievable since 1993 was the last time they were in a Cup Final. So I mean, but a couple of side notes here that I've had here. But this is the first time in basically 11 best-of-7 all-time matchups that the Knights have faced a 3-2 series deficit. Okay, they're 2-3 when facing elimination in their short history, but Carey Price owns a career of 7-5 in the elimination games. So this all to me just has the right that, listen, you're going to give this team another dog. They're at home. You have to imagine these fans are finally coming back in to see a Habs game are going to be on their feet. And I just feel like this is Montreal's time to shine. And I think if they lose tonight, I think they lose in 7. I absolutely wholeheartedly think so. So I think tonight, I think they punch that damn ticket, and I think they go on a limb. I'm going Montreal on the money line here at plus 125 or plus 130. Whatever you may have as your book, because right now across the books they're having plus 120, plus 130. So I'm going to put it right in dab in the middle at plus 125. I'm going with the Habs here on the money line and the under 5. There you have it. Cody, give me your intake.
I like it. I would love to see Montreal win this as much as anyone. I feel Carey Price, he's just one of the guys that, when you think about players who deserve a Stanley Cup, I feel Carey Price is right up there. I think that he's one of the best goaltenders we've ever seen in the NHL. I'd go that far 100%. And I also kind of agree with your take of if Montreal doesn't win it tonight, Vegas is probably going to close them out on home ice. And I did pick Vegas to win in 7, but there's so many variables here that just make this such an unpredictable series. We don't even know who Vegas is going to be going with in net, I don't think. So, could we see Fleury go to Montreal where, the last time he was there, he had a terrible gaff and he lets in an overtime goal? Or do we see Robin Leonard come in who played good in game 4? I think he really won them that first period, kept them in it where they could have been down 2-3-0. So there is a lot of variables here, but when I look at capping this one, I think I always go with the team whose backs are up against the wall. And even the Isles, I know you were all over them. The Coliseum's a fully different atmosphere. But I think when you look at teams who have their backs up against the wall and who play well under adversity, who are going to stick with their game plan, you have to go with that team. That's the Isles. That's Vegas. And so, yeah, I will go with Vegas. I'd sprinkle a little bit on them on the money line. And I don't know. I've just got a gut feeling that the over is going to hit. I don't know. It's so weird because it hasn't hit or been really close this series. But there's just something that tells me, I think we could see a 4-2 game or something, 4-3.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree there more. I know, and some again, when you look at this series, it's 0-1-4. So this game has every right to be an over. And you know what? It's been, and I'm not an under guy. I've been an over guy. Time in, time out. Every time I do my shows, I'm always on the overs. When I see a 5, that's always an automatic bet for me. And lately, I've been taking the unders because of how close these games have been. And the last over that I had was the Tampa Bay Islanders when that was an 8-0 Tampa lead in Game 5, and that was an easy over. I just expected more. But there's been trends where if you want an over, you should probably take the Islanders. If you want to take an under, you should probably take the Lightning because that's the way the Lightning have been playing, especially how slow pace hockey they play in the first period. But when you switch gears to Montreal and Vegas, it's been a lot of the same thing. You have 2 unbelievable goaltenders, and and again, like you said, it could be Robin Lehner in net tonight, who I think should start in net because of the great game that he had previously. But just Carey Price has been lights out. They got the fans behind his back. This is a very pivotal Game 6 for Vegas. And I understand. Hey, listen, you're used to seeing Vegas minus 180, minus 170, heavy juice entire series. Now they're kind of coming back to a little bit of reality where they're minus 145, and people are going to take that. They're going to bite that and take that, knowing that, hey, Vegas is a lot better than what we've seen so far this season. So, but rest assured, there you have it. Cody is on Vegas and the over. And, hey, we're doing reverse jinx here. I'm on Montreal money line and the under 5. And with that, I want to take a quick 2-minute commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to discuss last night's game number 6, Isles Bolts, and Dave Hextall, the new Seattle Kraken head coach. Sit back, relax, I'll be back in 2.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for taking that quick 2-minute commercial break. This is the Thursday, June 24th, 2021 episode of Pete's Power Plays, hosted by the one, the only king of the ice and fantasy football guru, Philly Pete. And we're live on 12 Ounce Sports and Zingo TV, channel 761. Don't forget, this show is sponsored by mybookie.ag. As we all know, sports are back. And don't forget, sign up with the promo code 12 Ounce Sports when setting up an account with MyBookie. 12 Ounce Sports, 120Z Sports, all caps, no spaces. There you go. Simple as that. Zingo TV, channel 761. Sign up with the account. And then flip over to 761 right now. We'll be here in today's episode. And again, Amazon.com. Summer is in full gear. And hey, start getting your apparel now by going to www.12ouncesportsnetwork.com/Amazon. I am co-hosted, alongside with Cody Janzen from World Hockey Report. And hey, what can I say? We just talked about game number 6 bets and odds for the Montreal Canadiens and the Vegas Golden Knights. If you missed it, we did a little crisscross action here. Cody did the over and the Vegas Golden Knights on the money line. Philly Pete, however, I went complete opposite. The under 5, even though we all know that I'm not an under guy, but under 5, and the Canadians on the money line at plus 125. So we'll see what happens there. I'm excited for Game 6, and I'm sure everyone else will be. So switching over, we'll talk a little bit about
the rate what's the over-under first period? What's the odds for that one, over 1.5 in the first period? Because I don't hate that one.
Yeah, that's something that I would consider taking the over, and I feel like it would be like ice capades for the rest of the game. That's how I feel, just because of the goaltenders. But right now, and I'm looking on DraftKings, and their over 1.5 is at plus 115. So that's solid value there when you're looking at a first period over. And the way that these two teams have been playing, Montreal, there's always a goal in this first period, I feel like. So could we get that? I mean, it's possible. But I do lean the over 1.5 at plus 115. And I feel like it's going to be a ice capade to the third period where teams are kind of slowing down. But we'll see. So Cody's on one way. I'm on the other way. We'll eventually meet up once again and see what happens. Rest assured, we have so last night, Isles, Bolts, real quick before we head into Dave Hackstall for a bit. Tampa took a 2-0 lead midway through the second period. And then finally, Jordan Eberle comes back and wakes up this crowd at the Coliseum. And again, this could potentially could have been the last game at the Coliseum. Finally woke him up. This team looked dead in the grass. I thought the series was over. Eberle came back, solid rest of the period. Then he had Mayfield come back to tie up the game at 2. And from there, everyone's electric there in the Coliseum. And then at the end of the day, Beauvillier, 1 minute into overtime, scores the overtime winner. It's just unbelievable how they fight back to basically win the game 3-2 when everyone thought it was over. What do you think about that comeback?
First off, what a terrible turnover by Coleman in overtime. I mean, that was an absolute pizza up the middle. Cost everyone our money who had Tampa winning that game. Also, Jordan Eberle, as an American, it's probably a little different. But in Canada, we're not shocked that he shows up in the big games. This is a guy who's done it his whole career. So when the Isles need a clutch goal, it surprises me the least bit that they would get one from Jordan Eberle. I mean, this guy's an absolute machine. I can't believe the Oilers lost him. I'm glad. I'm happy to see him having success on the island. But again, he single-handedly said, nope, down 2-0. We're not done yet. I'm going to come back. I'm going to drive the line. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird goal, but again, that's a veteran's goal by Eberle where he goes, hey, I'm on my backhand. Vasilevsky's not expecting me to shoot. I'm going to put a good backhand on net and see if it goes in. You see Patrick Kane do that a couple of times a year where he just catches the goalie off guard a little bit. You're not used to seeing that shot from that area. So tip your hat to the Islanders. What a game.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned Patrick Kane because he did that in the 2010 Stanley Cup Finals against my beloved Philadelphia Flyers. Everyone in the stands were like, "What's going on?" And Kane just, took a shot, and you never know. It went right in, slipped right in. He saw it go in. Everyone else was stunned. So there you have it. He could do it everywhere, and that's a great thing that you brought up. Thanks for reminding me about Patrick Kane. So I appreciate that. So switching gears, so there you go. That was a great game for the Isles, and that Game 7 is tomorrow night, of course, at the Amalie Center down in St. Pete's. Get ready for some ruckus down there in Tampa. It's going to be a phenomenal Game 7, and man, I cannot wait to cap that game when I give you guys the plays tomorrow. So, Seattle Kraken, the new expansion team for the NHL. Dave Haxall. Okay, I've known him from his time in Philly. Not the best. I wasn't thrilled, and then he goes to Toronto to be an assistant head coach, and here he goes. Seattle Kraken. Good luck. I hope he has great luck over there in Seattle. But as far as coming from a Flyer standpoint, you didn't do it for us. And I know a lot of people out there, a lot of Flyers fans, just want him ousted into the first year. So it is what it is. But I know he's a good developmental coach. But anything beyond that is a little iffy for me. Cody, what's your take? The ex-Flyer, Toronto, North Dakota coach. What do you think about him stepping into Seattle?
He just looked too green in Philly, in my opinion, where he was a legend in North Dakota. I think he was a head coach there for 15 years, like 13, something like that. Yeah. It was a time before that. He was in Sioux City in the USHL. So he had never coached men's professional hockey before, and for your first step not to be the American League, the East Coast, for it to be right into the NHL, we've seen coaches struggle. I don't know if David Quinn made his first step there, Montgomery and Dallas. It's tough. It's very tough to make that jump from college hockey to the NHL, and so yeah, there's definitely going to be some issues in Philly, and I feel that wasn't a good fit for him, clearly, as you said. I mean, you hit the nail on the head there. But then he goes to Toronto, and he's an assistant now, and he kind of gets to learn a little bit of the ropes from another side of view. And I really think that's going to help him. I think it helps him probably round out his coaching style, learn a little bit more, get a little bit more comfortable, learn a little bit more about how to treat players, how to see the guys, how to run systems. I think he's going to have success. I was really shocked that Seattle did throw a curveball here. I don't think any signs really pointed towards him ending up in Seattle. But again, they couldn't come to an agreement on Tocchet. I think it's a pretty good replacement. I mean, we can't be saying this is the worst hire of all time, but it is a risk. It's a risk for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's definitely a risk that Seattle is willing to take. So, I mean, I love the logo. Don't get me wrong. The colors are kind of sweet. But when it comes to the head coach, it's very questionable. We'll give him credit when credit's due when the time comes. So, there you have it. Dave Haxall, the new head coach of the Seattle Kraken. And, cheers to you, and hope you do very successful out there. So, Cody, switching gears to fantasy football. Do you play fantasy football, by the way?
I'm not a big fantasy football guy. I love watching. I love betting NFL, CFL, college football. Not a huge fantasy guy, but I understand the game enough.
Okay, fair enough. So, I like to, now that we're switching gears and hockey is almost coming to an end, and I hate to say that, but usually by the time July rolls around, I like to start getting involved with fantasy football, because in August is usually when all the drafts happen, about middle to late August, prime preseason football games. So now, I love doing this stuff. I do FanDuel on the side as well for my lineups. Clients sign up. I give them VIP daily fantasy football lineups as well. So I love doing this stuff. It's been a great hobby and leisure of mine. And it's funny because when I date back before I started doing capping for the NHL and being on Twitter and all, I was doing this, a lot, putting in money on FanDuel, putting money on DraftKings, and then somebody came up to me and was like, what's your lineups and all, and everyone loved it. Everyone was cashing out. And then it got to a point where, let me go on Twitter. Let me see what happens. Let me do hockey, because I've been pretty decent with it, I have to say. And then I go to fantasy football, and now I'm doing lineups, and people are cashing out pretty large with daily fantasy. So I love what I'm doing here. I really do. And when I talk about fantasy, it's good to get a head start with. You can never be too early with fantasy. So I want to talk about some news real fast, and starting out with David Montgomery from the Chicago Bears. Now, Chicago, he had a great season last year for the Chicago Bears. He's also expected to be, Tyreek Cohen is still iffy here and there, but Montgomery had a great year last year as a running back, of course. But he's expected to surpass all the rushing yards, all the stats from last year. Now, he had a really rough first year as a rookie. Last year, did pretty solid. And now a lot of people are expecting him to do pretty damn good this season for Chicago. And I like him as well from a fantasy standpoint because you're getting a three-headed back that will take all the downs. And, he's going about standard mock drafts right now. He's going like 4th round, towards the end of the 4th round. So he isn't a bad running back 2 if you already have your running back 1 in the 1st round or whatever you may have it. But Montgomery's definitely a guy who I think is going to have another great year this year, regardless who's at quarterback this year, Nick Foles or the rookie Justin Fields, of course, out of Ohio State. But I like what I see with David Montgomery. Darren Waller, the tight end out of the Vegas Raiders, another great tight end who I mentioned in my top 3 when I talked about my top 10 tight ends, but he's another player that could even have a better 2021 compared to last year. He's just a overall great player, and we know that. And he's just he can catch everything. He could play as a wide receiver and beat you downfield. We saw that numerous times. So again, that's another player that you should be eyeing up. Justin Fields is taking preseason reps. He's taking reps during practice right now, and we'll see him in the preseason. Not sure if he's going to start. A lot of words saying that Nick Foles is likely going to be the starter, or Andy Dalton, the ex-Dallas Cowboy, the redhead himself. So, we'll see what happens. Nick Chubb, I know he wants to stay in Cleveland. Who doesn't want Nick Chubb when it comes to Cleveland? He is a great player. Of course, you have Kareem Hunt in the backfield. That is a great running back duo, I have to say. Odell, another player, watch out for his knee, but he's expected to come back and have a very solid season this year. And last but not least, Courtland Sutton, another player from the Denver Broncos, of course, where he was injured last year, but he won't start training camp per Vic Fangio, of course, the head coach of the Denver Broncos. But this team, if Drew Lock can do really well this year, be consistent, he has a lot of weapons on this Broncos team. And like I said, they have the easiest running back, quarterback, and wide receiver strength of schedules, 5 out of 5 stars on all categories. So if you want a Melvin Gordon, if you want a Javonte Williams, the rookie, of course, if you want a Courtland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy, take them. Take them. They're probably going to give them the latter halves of the drafts. But if you want a good, solid player, Courtland Sutton is due for a bounce-back year, and that's how I'm feeling right now. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. And unfortunately, just like that, I am out of time. Cody, thank you so much for coming on board. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys check out Cody Janzen from the World Hockey Report. He kicks ass time in, time out. Give him a shot, give him a follow as well. Cody, thank you so much for taking time out of your day, hanging out with me.
Appreciate you.
I will be talking to you anytime, my man. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, have a great weekend. We'll be back on Tuesday, same time, same place. And let's get some more puck money. I'll see you guys. Bye.